If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth.
But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted to play this, but we decided we shouldn't play it. We don't want anybody to have any sort of a way to get the episode of you when you're on The View, when you were running for president.
Right.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to.
You got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
In the recent happenings involving Sunny Hostin, a co-host on The View, and Melania Trump, there has been a lot of hot takes. While some hold the opinion of it being a harmless show, others say differently. Now, one of those who feel like The View hosts went overboard with their comments on the First Lady of the United States is Joe Rogan. Who is Joe Rogan? You might wonder why his opinion matters so much. Joseph James Rogan, simply known as Joe Rogan, is an American podcaster, UFC color commentator, comedian, actor, and former television host. He hosts The Joe Rogan Experience, a podcast in which he discusses current events, comedy, politics, aliens, religion, philosophy, science, martial arts, and hobbies with celebrity guests. His podcast is one of the most influential and most watched podcasts in the world. One thing you need to know about Rogan is fearless. He is not scared of pointing out what he feels is wrong, no matter who he is addressing. His podcast has been known to call out unfair practices like transgenders competing in women's sports, the situation happening between Israel and Pakistan, LGBTQ rights and moves. Although he has multiple times admitted to having very little idea about politics, this didn't stop him from addressing the situation in Canada and Canada's Prime Minister.
Canada is communist. They're fucked. They got to get rid of that guy. I liked him before the
Trudeau?
pandemic. Yeah, I was like, he's a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Seems sweet. Good-looking guy, confident, good talker.
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, I'm like, oh, you're a fucking dictator. Oh, you don't like criticism. You're trying to shut down criticism by saying that all your critics are misogynists and racists. He said that about the trucking people, the truckers.
He called them
all misogynists and racist. Yeah, he's gross. He's a sketchy guy.
Rogan's podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, is listened to, watched from so many places in the world. So if he's calling someone out, it is important to know why. Recently, The View's co-host, Sunny Hostin, made some scathing remarks about Melania Trump and Donald Trump's relationship. She alleges that Melania hates Trump and seeks to take him out.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's a
agree on
given.
that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the First Lady anymore.
They agree with you.
She doesn't want to be the First Lady. She destroyed the Rose Garden. Who hates Christmas? Melania Trump hates Christmas. She doesn't want to decorate for Christmas. She doesn't want anything
She
to
doesn't
do with
care
him.
about that.
She doesn't want to sleep in the same
This
room.
has caused a serious outrage in the media as it crosses the line of opinion into defamatory territory. With Melania known for her very private living, these remarks are not just irritating, they're also infuriating. It was reported that she was livid when the episode aired, and it didn't take long for her to take action. She filed a $100 million lawsuit, saying that the statements by the hosts were not only deeply false, but were damaging to her reputation. This lawsuit is not just about hurt feelings, it's also about accountability. Melania is determined to set the record straight and ensure that harmful narratives about her don't go unchecked. Public figures in Melania's position rarely pursue legal action over media commentary. This legal battle is shaking up the world of entertainment and news, and it's leaving everyone asking why The View thought it was a wise thing to go up against Melania Trump.
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth.
But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out.
The comments and questions were not flattering. In fact, they were downright controversial and inflammatory. During the recent episode where they were discussing Melania's first time in the White House, their opinions were less than kind. going so far as to claim that Melania didn't love her husband and hated being the First Lady. Safe to say, these comments didn't meet the applause that was expected.
Critics are going hard after a liberal media member for vile comments about Melania Trump. The former First Lady appears to signal her support for reproductive rights in a video out yesterday.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
And this take is pretty shocking.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's a
agree on
given.
that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out.
That's unfortunate. Wow. I mean, that is violent. They've got to stop talking like that about a former president who's had 2 assassination attempts. I mean, that's just ignorant.
They didn't stop there. The conversation went on to criticize her personal choices. Things like her redecorating the White House and her stance on Christmas traditions. They painted a picture of someone who was just unhappy with her position and the expectations placed on her. And this was deeply disturbing to many Americans who felt the injustice behind those words.
Because I do want to get back to this point with the left and Melania Trump. Why can't she just be her own woman and have separate?
And she can.
And so why all that criticism? I mean, that was gross from The View.
And I
look,
agree.
The View is not the litmus test of America. We don't think that.
They were afraid of that remark. That was their problem.
So why did they?
Needless to say, these remarks did not sit well with Melania, and now she's making a move to end it in a big way. She filed a defamation lawsuit claiming the host's statements were not only false, but also severely damaging to her reputation. This goes beyond hurt feelings. It's about setting the record straight and protecting her image from what she considers unfounded and harmful attacks. And there's more. Joe Rogan, podcast king and media critic extraordinaire, didn't hold back from roasting The View for what he called blatant hypocrisy. He reminded everyone that just a few years ago, Trump and his wife, Melania, were regular guests on the show, receiving hugs and applause from the host. Fast forward to today, and the same View portrays them as public enemy number 1. Rogan called it a calculated narrative flip driven more by politics than genuine conviction.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted to play this, but we decided we shouldn't play it. We don't want anybody to have any sort of way to get it out. The episode of you when you're on The View, when you were running for president.
Right.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to.
You got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
Please let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you.
We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
They're talking about you in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering, and then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you.
Joe Biden knows how to do this. Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just...
But that wasn't all. Rogan didn't stop at Trump. He took aim at the show for prioritizing sensationalism over substance. In a quote from his podcast, he said, "If you average out the IQ of The View hosts, you might still struggle to reach triple digits." Harsh, you might say, but his audience loved it.
It is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested henhouse.
Now you might be wondering why this even matters. Well, beyond the drama, this case brings up a bigger issue. What can or can't be said about public figures. This lawsuit could have a big implication on how the public handles the private matters of public figures. If Melania wins, this could set a new precedent for what is acceptable in the realm of media law, and we would see a massive shift in the way shows like The View handle topics involving celebrities, politicians, and their personal lives.
Allegedly, he was cheating while Melania was pregnant.
That was all. That's not going to come in front of the jury, though. The judge has ruled that won't come up.
We're on television now. And then after Melania gave birth to the baby, he found Stormy to strip around with, right?
Yeah.
It's like people should look at him and say, you know, what kind of an insecure jerk are you? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my wife's pregnant. I'm not attracted to her big belly or something. And now she's paying attention to the baby and not me.
This isn't the first time The View has found itself in the middle of a controversy. But this one is very different. We are talking about the current First Lady of the United States suing one of the most watched talk shows in the country. Also, the timing. Let's talk about the timing for a minute. Just as Melania filed this lawsuit, Donald Trump is making headlines for other reasons. It begs the question, is this all part of a strategic move? Or is it just coincidental? Some people are already speculating that this lawsuit could be a calculated distraction aimed at turning the media spotlight back on Melania, especially with everything happening in the political scene. Whether it's strategic or pure frustration, one thing is clear: that this story is one with many layers that we are only just starting to peel them back.
You know who has been bragging all over the campaign trail about how he's the one that overturned Roe v. Wade, but apparently his wife has different thoughts on the reproductive rights after posting this video plugging her memoir. Take a look.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
Now, during the show, one host said that Melania hates her husband and doesn't want to live with him in the same house anymore. That was quite shocking and left a lot of people listening in disbelief, wondering if they just said that on live television. It's one of those moments that you have to listen and re-listen to be sure you heard correctly. However, despite how shocking these statements are, nothing quite prepared everyone for the quickness of Melania's actions. Celebrities and high-profile figures generally let things slide in situations like these, or they issue a brief press statement via their public relations team. But Melania is going all in, and she's not just fighting to clear her name, she's fighting for accountability. By taking this to court, she's drawing a firm line in the sand about what's acceptable and what crosses the line. This isn't about a quick fix. This is about protecting her personal and public reputation for the long haul, and with $100 million on the table, it's clear she means business. This isn't just a publicity stunt. This is a legal battle with real stakes. She's making it clear that the impact of those comments goes beyond a simple disagreement. This is about the damage done to her personal image and the public perception of her as a person and a public figure. This raises some pretty serious questions for us all. Do public figures like Melania have the right to full privacy? Or do they have to accept a certain level of public scrutiny because of their status? And where do we draw the line between free speech and defamation? This could become a landmark moment in media law, and experts are already predicting that it could have a ripple effect throughout the entire entertainment and news industry. If Melania wins, it could change how the media handles personal matters about public figures, whether it's celebrities, politicians, or even family members. However, there's also a lot of criticism. Some critics argue that Melania is just exploiting the situation for publicity. Others believe she's genuinely trying to protect her reputation and show that there's a limit to how far the media can go. The truth most likely lies in between, but at the end of the day, this lawsuit is about the intersection of fame, personal privacy, and media responsibility. It's a reminder that even public figures deserve some protection against false and damaging statements. As the case unfolds, all eyes are on Melania and on The View to see how the courts will respond to her claims. This feels like a new dawn for both celebrities, public figures, and the media. However the case falls will determine which side will eventually have the upper hand, especially in how the other party is treated. What do you think will be the ruling on this case? Follow for more.